Ready to go? At Metro Transit, we are. With more routes to more places, easy ways to pay, and more convenient options, we're ready to go further. Go easier. Go faster. Go, go, go. And go. We're ready to go. Are you?
Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Diversity Dude podcast. I'm your host, Lambert Fisher, marriage and family therapist, award-winning author, and national speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. And for those of you who are interested in even more positive and encouraging tips and strategies beyond what I share in podcasts like this, then feel free to check out my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, nationally recognized for the unique way in which it addresses the often difficult topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. Designed for more than just therapists, if you're a helping professional in any way, diversity in clinical practice can help you meet the greatest variety of cultural needs possible for those whom you serve. And it's available in paper and audiobook versions for your convenience. And if you haven't heard it yet, I invite you to visit TED.com and check out my talk called What to Do When You Offend Someone, where I offer a positive and encouraging perspective on how to navigate unintentional offenses in daily life. To date, it's been viewed over 500,000 times. Check it out for yourself, and if you're encouraged by it as well, share it with a friend. And whether it be through my one on one relationship building efforts as a therapist or my informing and empowering efforts as an author and speaker, know that my personal mission is to do my part to improve the world one strengthened relationship at a time. So, today I want to share with you an encouraging perspective on how LGBTQ plus Pride Month can be celebrated by everyone. So, as the summer marches on, I want to acknowledge that the month of June is LGBTQ plus Pride Month. If you are not already aware, that's the reason why you've been seeing a few or a lot more rainbows everywhere. From rainbow flags displayed on people's houses, cars, and clothing, or companies who temporarily modify their logos to include a rainbow, people everywhere are finding subtle and overt ways to reflect their support for the LGBTQ plus community. That being said, I'm also aware that there are many of you who, for various reasons, do not feel comfortable celebrating or even acknowledging LGBTQ plus Pride Month. And in acknowledgement of the variety behind the motivations for this, I'd like to share a few brief considerations to keep in mind that may contribute to healthy decisions and interactions in this regard. Consideration number one. LGBTQ plus Pride Month is a great time to acknowledge the contributions of individuals in the LGBTQ plus community over the years. It's important to remember that just as with many awareness and heritage months, LGBTQ plus Pride Month is not about promoting an identity or way of living out that identity. Everyone can appreciate LGBTQ plus Pride Month by taking the time to learn about and value many of the great contributions to society accomplished by individuals in the LGBTQ plus community. Some having to do with creating safe spaces, defending rights, or otherwise making life better for those who are also part of the LGBTQ plus community, and others having nothing to do with that at all, but nonetheless are still significant. Consider Alan Turing, a British mathematician and computer scientist, who is considered the father of modern computer science and artificial intelligence, having also played a crucial role in breaking the German Enigma code during World War II. Consider also Sarah Josephine Baker, an epidemiologist who revolutionized healthcare, as well as James Baldwin, Black American author and civil rights activist whose written works opened the minds of many. The list continues to definitely go on. But let me also be clear, I in no way want to communicate that anyone needs to earn their validity or the right to be valued based on the significance of their contributions to society. However, I do like to encourage exploration in this regard because the sheer amount of times I've seen with my own eyes people become aware of someone in the LGBTQ plus community having done something awesome, only to be shocked, as if they hadn't previously fathomed the possibility that there could be anything more to their life than their sexual orientation or gender identity. Which leads nicely into consideration number two. A person's sexual orientation or gender identity is not all there is to a person. Some people unfortunately think that if someone is a part of the LGBTQ plus community, then that's the only things that matters about their lives. Just as you are more important than your ethnicity, no matter how much it impacts your life, and you are more important than, or you are more than your abilities or disabilities, no matter how much it impacts your life. Someone's sexual orientation and gender identity is only the tip of the iceberg of who a person is. Let me personalize it and say this. Just as your gender identity and sexual orientation is only one aspect of what makes you who you are, so there are many additional aspects of someone else's life worth getting to know. From our values, insights, and perspectives to the contributions you make to the lives of those around you and ultimately the world, we all have the opportunity to not only figure out who we are, but to determine how much of each aspect of ourselves that we discover that we will share with the world. I'm willing to bet that for most of you listening to this podcast, you likely wouldn't want one aspect of you to be the only thing that people think matters to you or matters to them about you. For example, if the only perspective that mattered when people listened to you was your perspective representing a particular gender, or as someone representing people of your height, or someone from your city or state or country or where you're from. Sure, to some degree, that perspective may matter to you a lot, and you may have some insights to share from your perspective in regard to that topic or that aspect of you that might be of value to others, and may even give you the opportunity to advocate on behalf of others in that particular community. However, if you then began to share insights from other aspects of your identity, and people stopped you and said, "Oh, no, 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 you're a part of this group, and that's the only thing we need to hear from you ever from now on." I suppose you might not appreciate that certain aspects of your identity are being deemed as the only aspects that matter, and every other aspect minimized, dismissed, or acted as if they don't matter at all. Unfortunately, this is often what happens to many in the LGBTQ plus community. In my experience as a therapist, I've heard the frustration of people in the LGBTQ plus community expressing that while they want to be seen and accepted for who they also have more to offer than just that aspect of their identity and desperately long for those around them to see and appreciate all of who they are, just as everyone else longs for that as well. This presents an indirect challenge to you to see as much of those around you as they are willing to share with you, rather than stopping at one's sexual orientation or gender identity and concluding that you know everything there is to know. And finally, for today, consideration number three. LGBTQ plus Pride Month is a great time to acknowledge the often unequal and unsafe ways individuals in the LGBTQ plus community are treated. Whether or not you have been surrounded by opportunities to meet, to befriend, or share life with individuals who identify as a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and whether or not you feel as though you support or affirm or reluctantly accept and merely coexist with the same people in your life, your personal feelings and beliefs about who someone else is and how they should live their lives in no way changes the reality that people in the LGBTQ plus community have experienced emotionally as well as physically unsafe situations, both temporary as well as long term. From subtle yet nonetheless impactful biases and discrimination to hate crimes that traumatize at the least and take lives at the worst. Everyone deserves the right to feel safe in this world. Anyone trying to live their best life and potentially help others do the same should have the chance to do so without those efforts being deemed as a justifiable reason to cause them harm. You don't have to be an advocate for someone else's identity or way of living out that identity to stand for the preservation of emotional and physical safety and ultimately the preservation of life. If you ever find yourself in a position to advocate for the well being of someone else, whether you identify with their experience or not, I encourage you to do whatever is within your power to control to help them have the same opportunities that you would want to be seen, to be safe, to be valued. With all this in mind, my hope for you is that you would make the most of every opportunity you have to learn more about the identities and the life experiences of those in the LGBTQ plus community. Let LGBTQ plus Pride Month be the start of a long term pattern to learn what you need to know to ensure that everyone around you feels seen and valued. And if needed, advocated for and protected, as we all want as we try to live our lives fairly and safely. And as you learn more, I hope that you can begin by being pleasantly surprised by what you discover, and eventually not be surprised at all. And with that, I'll say thanks again for listening in to today's Diversity Dude podcast. If you have any pressing diversity-related questions that you'd like me to address on an upcoming podcast, or if your organization is in need of a shame-free and empowering guest speaker or training on this often sensitive topic, then feel free to reach out to me directly at www.diversitymadesimple.com. And if you know anyone else who can benefit from a positive and encouraging perspective on the often difficult topic of diversity, feel free to send them a link to this podcast so they can be encouraged as well. Or share with them my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, available at Amazon.com. And don't forget to visit TED.com and check out my talk on what to do when you offend someone. I hope it inspires you and that you share with someone else so that they can be inspired as well. And as usual, I look forward to addressing as many topics as possible in future podcasts to help you improve as many relationships as possible at work, at home, and in your community. And as always, remember this: you don't need to know everything about everyone in order to have a positive impact on someone. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
When I was introduced to Brimmer, I really appreciated it. It was more of a relationship. The support that we have in project-based lending, it's emboldening us to go after larger projects. That is a game changer for a small business. The resources and the support from Brimmer Bank is exciting that I could stay with them forever. Sometimes when you're working with bankers, they relish the fact of saying no. With Brimmer, it's like they're finding a way to say yes.
What's up, everyone? It's Shaletta. I'm here getting a phone for one of my newly minted teenagers with Xfinity Mobile. They've got great options, affordable plans, and solid coverage that works for our whole family. With Xfinity Mobile, my daughter can stay connected with me wherever she goes. And did you know when you sign up, you can get an extra phone line free for a full year? Switch to Xfinity Mobile today for more savings, more smiles, and more ways to stay connected.